Hey guys, it's Steven from Legit Tech Tutorials, and I wanted to do a brief video talking about what the future of this channel is going to be. So I started Legit Tech Tutorials back in 2013, which is a decade ago. It's been 10 years now, and I started it doing tutorials on CAD and other programs. Um, and I did a lot of them. I think I have something like, let me take a brief look. I have something like, how many videos here? Stand by. I think I probably have a couple hundred videos, so I'll look here in YouTube Studio real quick. Let's see, 400. So I have 400 videos. So I have 400 videos of different things. So I was doing Unity game engine, Fusion 360, designing various things. I did stuff that I learned in college back when I was in college, stuff like, and those are my biggest videos, pretty funny. All the assembly programming that I took in a class, etc., etc. But basically, the plan for the class, the plan for the channel going forward is that I've kind of stepped mostly away from YouTube and doing more in Udemy. So Udemy is a place where I could post classes. So instead of teaching on YouTube and having all these separate videos and then creating a playlist so that you watch the videos, I created a Udemy course. And so my first course was in Fusion 360. Well, that wasn't necessarily the case. It was general programming fundamentals, and then I created a class in Fusion 360. Now that Fusion 360 class eventually climbed to be like the top 4 out of 5 on the entire platform, and has been very lucrative, decently lucrative financially, drastically compared to YouTube. It's very difficult to make money on YouTube with where you have to get so many views, and the drop off between video to video is pretty high. And so on Udemy, I am paid per class purchase, and so even if you only watch a couple videos, then I still, and you decide to drop off, you could return it for full price, or you could wait till later, but it doesn't really matter because I would get paid the same amount. So obviously on YouTube that's not the case. If you don't keep watching the subsequent videos in that playlist, I don't get paid for the ads, etc., etc. So it's been very lucrative in that regard. Obviously, I don't have. Well, I would say I have more people watch it there than I do on here because I'm making more money. I could spend more time on it, etc., etc. So you could see that in the recent years it's kind of stopped, and really that stopped when I started doing Udemy. I started doing Udemy in 2020. I think it was January 2020, and then I've been doing that ever since. And this channel has drastically slowed down in those last 3 years, and then even before that. And so I wanted this channel to become kind of a companion to my pay per class, or maybe even branch out to Skillshare, which is pay per minute. I get paid per minute, and then you pay a membership per month, and then they add together all the minutes that the videos have been watched, and then they take the minutes that you've watched and they divide it by that total minutes. You get some sort of percentage ratio, and then they have a pot of money to give to the creators. They take that pot of money and they multiply it by the ratio, and that's how much you get. Now, supposedly, I heard you make way more on Udemy than you do on Skillshare, unless you're a huge creator on Skillshare and getting a majority of the view minutes. But I may branch out to specific topics that are more that are better utilized in Skillshare. So, for example, you might have saw a recent video talking about my Fusion 360 simulation class shorts on this channel, as well as you might have seen a previous thing that I also want to keep doing, which is talking about tips and tricks of these different these different topics. And so those are basically videos from my courses. And so I'm taking videos from my courses and then making them into a condensed, shorter video talking about these different things that I've learned. Now, that I think is pretty good. And so it also will advertise towards my classes. And so if you want to see all the content, you can go to my classes. But I wanted to do this more of, well, generally the channel will be more now based to promoting my classes, right? And so I will do more content on here, that some of it you'd be able to teach for free. Also, I want to do giveaways on this channel to give away free codes to the classes, free codes / discount codes to the classes. So for example, this is a little image that I guess can represent my Fusion 360 simulation class that I just submitted for review, which should be live in about 4 days. Now, when that goes live, I'll post a short and give like either a 5 or 30 day time for you to get the class for free on Udemy. And I'll probably do the 30-day promotion on Udemy. I can only have 100 people, but that should be fine. So you'll have 30 days, and the first 100 people to use the code can get the class for free. And so I'll do stuff like that. And then other things that I want to do is some of the longer form stuff that I don't want to put on the classes. I want the classes to be very, very information dense and very concise. But on here, maybe more of, okay, just showing the beginning to the end of designing stuff. So like a lot of YouTube videos are not, like a lot of the YouTube videos on the platform on YouTube that are technology related are generally not tutorials. What they are is like, hey, I have the idea for this project. Let me show you sort of a rough idea of what I did to get there, and then show all of that in 6-7 minutes, or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, whatever. So I think that's kind of what I'll do here. So for example, these new classes that I'm working on, for example, the resin printing. So I'm going to be working on a resin 3D printing class. And one of those things that I'm going to check, and again, this is going to be like as information dense as possible on the class. And the class, no matter how long the class is, you still pay that same, whatever price I set. And then I can keep, even after the class is submitted, I can keep changing the class and also adding content to the class or removing content, whatever. And as long as you purchase the class, you get the class for as long as Udemy exists once you purchase the class. And so one of them is to add more content to it is I want to see what is the best wipe that you can use on a resin vat, tank, and general messes. And so I want to do like a shootout of a whole bunch of different of these different microfiber cloths and see which one's the best and what's a good criteria that if you have a different source of selecting them. So for example, I probably wouldn't show the testing process in the course, but instead I would show the testing process in my YouTube channel. So I would show like, okay, I'm going and testing through this, and then I find some result, whatever, right? And so I'm thinking that the more long form content will be on YouTube, and the more concise, to the point, cut content will be on the classes. And then as well as giveaways here, and then maybe some giveaways on this one on Udemy as well. So I'm thinking that is kind of going to be the future of the classes, the YouTube, and it will basically being paid for by the Udemy class, and it's something that I have to do anyways. And so I think it's really cool to see the steps that I take to find the solution, as well as I can post that information on Udemy to say, hey, if you want to see the long form study of this, go ahead and check out my my YouTube. And that way I don't artificially buffer the size of my classes, because it'll tell you the curriculum size of the class. And so if it's 30 hours, but it's not really 30 hours of concise information, it's 30 hours of testing stuff, it's not as good, it's not as representative of the class content, right? Of how much stuff you're going to learn. It's like, okay, you learn the results at the end, but then you miss the stuff at the beginning. And I have other things. For example, on my Fusion class, I'll have like this ADS-B that I'm building for general aviation. And so having a show like, hey, this is what I want to build. This is me building it. This is the end. This is what I've learned, etc. And then done. Now on the class, you'll probably see a very concise section of me building it, a couple minutes, and then mainly the focus on that class is the design of it. And so here would be like, okay, the printing, me printing it, what I'm using to print, and some brief talking about some of those topics there that I wouldn't want to cover in the class, and also be able to provide a link in the class to where they can go to see me build that project. And so that way it doesn't fluff up the class, and also you get to see everything in YouTube. And then also, if you're interested in seeing, if you do not have access to the class part because you haven't paid for it or whatever, then you can go to the class to see that other information, the concise information. So it kind of helps in all aspects there. So that's kind of what I plan to be the future of this YouTube channel, and that will also help to build it, because for the most part it's not really financially. It doesn't really financially make sense, but if it's supporting the classes, by itself, but if it's supporting classes, it definitely financially makes sense. And if I'm doing it anyways, might as well. If I'm doing it anyways to get this knowledge for the class, then I might as well do that as well. The main balance that I'm going to be looking for is, okay, the name of the channel is Legit Tech Tutorials, but what if these are like testing those rags? Like, how is that a tutorial? Which, again, this channel used to always be these tutorials, but I think it's going to be kind of almost like Linus Tech Tips, which has the same acronym, LTT. I think this will be more towards tips, tutorials, and just kind of overall doing stuff. And I'm trying to think of also what's a trend of something that I want to just do here, but also have on the channel. One of them that I want to experiment with is building battle bots, because I'm really into RC. I was really into RC planes and RC quadcopters, and I've been watching a lot of battle bots on TV, and then also the Havoc on YouTube. And so I wanted to try my hand at building one of those as kind of maybe a more exciting version of flying planes / quadcopters. So we'll see. Yeah, so things like that. So this is basically what I'm thinking the future of the channel is going to be, and hopefully develop more and more content over time. I may have to change the name of the channel from tutorials to something else, or maybe I'll just leave it just to show the heritage of where the channel came from. And also for anybody that's wondering, how long I've done this for YouTube or Udemy, they can see here on the channel. So we'll see. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.